Hello my fellow friends and followers, it's me RetroMania, and in today's video we are talking about the top 15 best PlayStation 1 games of all time. If you disagree, that's completely fine. You can also write me down below your top 10 or 15 favorite PlayStation 1 games of all time. I'll be reading all of your comments, and with this out of the way, let's jump to my top 15 best PlayStation 1 games of all time. Let's go. Disney Tarzan is probably my favorite child-licensed video game on the PlayStation 1. Even if you remove the IP Tarzan, you are still left with a very solid, well-made and fun side-scrolling platformer. Most PlayStation 1 child-licensed cartoon games are in my opinion subpar, but Tarzan it's a shining example of a well-made cartoon child-licensed game. I highly recommend. And with this out of the way, let's jump to my next game on this top list. Let's go. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 was the first prime example of a brilliantly crafted skating game from start to finish. It combines fun arcade skating gameplay with the IP Tony Hawk's and with fitting energy music to provide one of the best skating experiences on the PlayStation 1. Tony Hawk's lacks the complex and deep storytelling, but the very fun and addictive gameplay, it's a great compromise and elevates the experience by miles. If you're in search for a fun and addictive game just to kill some time, this is the perfect game, and without a doubt this is a game what deserves to be on this list. The next game on my list is also a fun addictive game, but a game what plays its cards much safer, so let's see what games awaits us on place number 13. Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, it's a hidden gem among the huge library of PlayStation 1 games. It's by far one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Games of all time. The gameplay is slightly different than in other Yu-Gi-Oh! Entries. Forbidden Memories doesn't use the same card rules the official game it's using. You can summon strong monsters without any sacrifice, you can even fuse monsters without the card polymerization, and the fusions totally play different than in other games. For God's sake, you can even fuse spell and trap cards. Make no mistake, these new takes on the already established Yu-Gi-Oh! Formula makes this game so new and so refreshing. It definitely makes this game stand out from the other Yu-Gi-Oh! Games we all know and adore. I remember playing this game on my PlayStation 2 together with my mom. We had so much fun together. She isn't really a gamer, but even she loved this game. So yeah, if you want a new fresh take on the already established Yu-Gi-Oh! Formula, try this one out, you will not regret it. I choose Innocent Sin because I didn't play Persona 2 Eternal Punishment. Technically Innocent Sin is a Japanese only PlayStation 1 game, while the PSP version of the same game has a localized English version. I loved Persona 2 Innocent Sin, and that's why I wanted to put it on my top list. If you never played Innocent Sin, I highly recommend doing so. It's not my favorite Persona game because it aged quite poorly in both gameplay and visuals, but for that time, for the PlayStation 1, it was a pretty good showcase, and I think for that reason it deserves to be on this list. I like how crazy and obscure the story of Innocent Sin can get. And because of that reason, because Innocent Sin and Persona 1 established the Persona franchise, I need to put it this high on my list. The next game on my list is also a very unique JRPG from the PlayStation 1 era, so let's fly to place number 11. Legend of Dragoon is an all-time favorite of mine, and in my opinion a hidden gem from the PlayStation 2 library. The game's story is well developed and engaging with a strong cast of characters. The game's graphics are impressive for its time. The game uses pre-rendered backgrounds with fixed bird camera, what creates a unique gameplay experience. One of the shortcomings of this game is that the quick-time events can be hit or miss. Because it was a PlayStation 1 game, the quick-time events are slightly off, unless you play this game on actual CRT TV. Still, this is a well-made experience from start to finish, and definitely a game I highly recommend to any JRPG fan, young and old. MediEvil is a classic adventure game with a beautiful gothic dark horror atmosphere. The art direction perfectly captures the spooky atmosphere the game is known for. The game's combat system is very simple yet satisfying, with a decent variety of weapons and spells at your disposal. The game also features some pretty decent puzzles and platforming challenges, what adds an extra layer of complexity that keeps the gameplay new and fresh. Overall, MediEvil is a very unique and underrated title from the PlayStation 1 era, and I highly recommend playing it if you get the chance. The game also received a remake on the PlayStation 4. Anyways, let's jump to the next game on my top list. Let's go! Final Fantasy VII, it's an all-time classic that follows the story of the main character, Cloud. The game's story is very deep, sad, complex and well crafted, with a lot of dialogue and charming characters we will encounter on our journey to save the world. The gameplay is your traditional turn-based JRPG gameplay we all love and adore. If you never played this gem, what are you waiting for? This is one of those games everyone should have experienced at least once in their life. Dino Crisis is a thrilling survival horror game where we discover a research facility wanting to resurrect dinosaurs. The dinosaurs find a way to break out of the research facility, and so we get surrounded by these bloodthirsty creatures who want to eat us alive. I love the fixed bird camera and the unique atmosphere this game is giving out. It's quite unique compared to other games from that genre. Dino Crisis, it's a must-play to all fans of the survival horror game genre, but let's move on to place number 7. Tekken 3 is a classic 1 vs 1 fighting game with breathtaking animations and graphics, at least for the year 1997. Tekken 3 still holds up even today. In my opinion, Tekken 3 is one of the best Tekken games ever created. I think most people who owned a PlayStation 1 also owned Tekken 3. It was a legendary title, but definitely deserves a place on this top list. Final Fantasy Tactics, it's a tactical JRPG with a large cast of characters within a medieval setting. I placed it higher than Final Fantasy VII because recently I really got into tactical strategic JRPGs, games like Fire Emblem Engage, Fire Emblem Three Houses and Triangle Strategy, what I really think it's a masterpiece. Final Fantasy Tactics still holds up even today. It has this beautiful, rich story, deep gameplay and a memorable cast of characters. This is a must-play for any fans of the tactical RPG genre, and for that reason it deserves to be on this list. Anyways, let's move on to the next game on this list. Tomb Raider, it's a classic PlayStation 1 title we at least heard, saw or played once in our life. One of the standouts of Tomb Raider are the groundbreaking 3D graphics, environment and the incredible textures, at least for the year 1996. It also introduced to us Lara Croft, one of the most iconic video game characters of all time in video game history, and for that reason alone, I think this game is really special. The next game on my list is also a really special game because it was the very first PlayStation 1 game I have ever owned, I have ever played. So let's jump to place number 4. Rayman 1 was the very first PlayStation 1 game I have ever owned. It is, in my opinion, one of the best PlayStation 1 games, and this is me speaking without any bias whatsoever. I think I struck gold by choosing Rayman 1 as my very first PlayStation 1 game, and not something like Bubsy 3D, what is considered one of the worst games on the PlayStation 1. Rayman 1 is a classic side-scrolling 2D platformer with amazing soundtracks, well-made world design and one of the most iconic mascots from the PlayStation 1 era. Yes, I'm obviously referring to Bubsy, Rayman. Rayman is amazing and the game did age amazingly well, but there is one thing I need to warn you. The game is hard, really hard. Don't get tricked by its cartoon, childlike art style. This game is the Dark Souls of 2D platformers. It starts relatively easy and simple, but it gets ridiculously hard relatively early on. Still, Rayman 1 is an all-time classic I love and adore. Spyro the Dragon, it's a classic 3D platformer created to compete with Nintendo's 3D platformers like Mario 64. One of the standouts is Spyro the Dragon. It's the beautifully crafted semi-open world with a huge variety of level designs and unique enemy encounters. Spyro is also one of these games that are easy to beat but hard to master. The game has millions of collectibles, so 100% this game will take some time. If you never experienced this gem, what are you waiting for? Spyro the Dragon is an all-time classic what every PlayStation 1 owner should own in his collection. And with these words out of the way, let's see what game awaits us on PS2. Grandia is one of my favorite JRPGs of all time, and people who follow me will know that I'm a huge Grandia sim. And this for a very good reason, because this is one of the best JRPGs of all time, if you ask me. Grandia combines the lovable 2D sprite works, game arts it's known for from games like Lunar, in incredible breathtaking 3D environments. What makes you think how far 2D HD actually originates from? Grandia's unique art style, animations, breathtaking music and groundbreaking open world makes this game so amazing to me. If you never played Grandia, do yourself a favor and play it. Anyways, let's move on, or should I say let's warp to place number 1. Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. It's a classic 3D platformer for the PlayStation 1 and in my opinion the best PlayStation 1 platformer. The whole Crash trilogy is so amazing, and if you never played these games, you definitely should try them out. I love how Crash 3 changed the platforming space with new innovative gameplay ideas, like riding a motorcycle, jet skiing, and even riding a tiger in a fast-paced level. It also is cool how you switch between Crash and Coco, and how the boss fights are also so very unique and so fun to play. Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, it's an all-time classic who definitely deserves to be on PS1. But what do you think about my top list? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know down below. And with this out of the way, I wish you all a wonderful day. Sayonara my good old PlayStation friends. Bye, and bye.